Hello and welcome to the Morrison Run, the podcast where we read and review everything written by Grant Morrison. My name is Leon.
And my name is Angwin.
And my name is Bertie.
Today we are reading and reviewing Kill Your Boyfriend. Kill Your Boyfriend is from 1995. It's part of it. It was published through Vertigo, which is obviously an imprint of DC. It was part of a series of one-shots, and it's drawn by Philip Bond and inked by Disraeli.
It's pretty weird. So we'll give a little bit of a synopsis. There's this young schoolgirl who exists in this sort of dystopic version of the UK where, like, everyone is, we'd say maybe like hyper-conservative, but there's a focus on, like, women's sexuality and, you know, keeping and like trying to maintain a virginal.
Do we know where in the UK? Is it London?
It seems like London, but I
think for some reason I thought it was like Bradford or something, because I think Vermanarama, which is Morrison and Bond's other comic, is set in Bradford.
Right.
So I think for some reason I thought it was like the north.
I don't
think it is.
Some of the depictions seem quite metropolitan. Some of the buses seem quite Londony as well. But,
I think they mention London.
Okay. Well, essentially, this girl is she is dating this guy, her boyfriend.
Do you think we can spoil what happens to boyfriend? Yeah.
No, we'll get to that. Yeah. And her boyfriend, who I think is the only like properly named character.
Well, there's some other named characters later.
But true.
Of normal people, he's one of the only.
Yeah, exactly. He's like the only. Yeah. And to cut to the chase, girl kills her boyfriend. She meets this kind of like radical, edgy guy who like steals cigarettes and like destroys cars, and he convinces her to kill her boyfriend, and I guess sort of like break free from the monotony of her daily life. And they end up meeting up with this bus of quirky characters who want to go to Blackpool because they view it as a sort of like artistic hub or something. I think they want to go to Blackpool Tower.
Yeah.
And blow it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, hijinks ensue as she and this radical boy kind of go on their little adventures to Blackpool. So, yeah.
Once they start going on their adventures, it becomes a bit less of a linear narrative. It's just they're here and doing this thing and then somewhere else, and it gets a little bit random. But
Yeah. And they're basically just trying to be as like, I don't know, anti-establishment as possible.
But we kind of learn that they're not really about that life. The style terrorists.
Yeah, the style terrorists. Exactly.
They talk all that stuff, but they don't really want to do everything.
Yeah, which, not to get too opinionated too early, I think is better than the alternative. Because the alternative ends up being like a lot of murder and like destruction of property in the name of arguably very little. But I guess just, we'll give brief opinions. So, guys, what did you guys think of Kill Your Boyfriend?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, I think the art was definitely my favourite part. I really liked what Philip Bond was doing. I like how British the colours are.
Yeah.
It's very washed out, but that does also allow, like, some moments to pop, like, blood or the red dress and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stands out.
This era of colouring is like my favourite. When artists started to sort of unlock digital colouring and like new ways of colouring, but the expectation of like super realistic gradients wasn't quite there yet.
Yeah.
So you just got a lot of flat colours, but in more interesting tones than you did in like the 60s.
Yeah. I think it's pretty weird, and I mean, I guess like it's meant to be a dark comedy, and what I found beyond the art, I think my favorite part was like the depictions of just everyone, just like all their worst traits being on show, everyone just being an awful person, like the police, every single character is just very unlikable, but I guess it works.
Yeah, I'm with like conflicting because I like started it and I was like, I'd read this before as well. I started it, I was like, this is cool, and then I got halfway through and I was like, I don't know if I like this. And I got towards the end and I was like, oh, actually, I do really like this because I was thinking about it more. And then at the very end, there's another twist where I was like, what? That just off-put me again.
Twist.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's. So, do you guys want to go through the twist?
Yeah. So, the boy, the sort of radical boy,
he's kind of like a foster kid. Like,
yeah. He mentions that at the start, and then later on, we hear the girl's mum talk about a kid that she had that she like gave away to a like adoption house, an orphanage, and then afterwards we hear the boy separately basically retell that story as his story. Right before he kisses him and the girl kiss.
I guess important context is that they've had a lot of sex during the course of the series, and the in his final moments, the radical boy, the only regret he has is that they were never able to try anal.
He does say that.
So like this reveal is kind of it comes as a shock to the reader.
It does.
You're like, oh, okay, cool, man. After everything, because the story is quite like over the top and silly anyway. Like they want to go to Blackpool and blow up Blackpool Tower. The main girl, she dresses in this sort of like, I don't know, over the top prima donna outfit for a lot of it, with this really big blonde hair and like bright red dress.
And she gets that outfit, like interesting scene where they like assault an MP or something.
Yeah.
And it's like his secret outfit because he's like doing drag in his free time. Like it's confusing because they kind of, the comic attaches drag or like, I guess like engaging in like transgender performance kind of attaches that to being like a rich MP and part of that, which is confusing because it comes across as kind of transphobic in this comic, but we know in real life that Grant Morrison obviously isn't transphobic. They're like non-binary and have talked about like dressing up in drag themselves and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's just like a weird thing to, I don't know, reckon with in this comic.
Yeah, I thought that whole situation was very strange because it seems like the MP like records himself in drag and sort of like an OnlyFans-esque type situation.
Yeah,
which I thought was very interesting because obviously that's quite
quite risky as an MP, right?
Well, obviously quite risky as an MP, but obviously like I don't know, like that's quite before their time in a way from Grant Morrison, that sort of depiction. I think it's quite interesting. But yeah, basically then the boy and the girl, I think, steal the keys to this MP's house and they break into his house and they steal all his drugs and his outfits and stuff, leading to her having this like, very very over the top outfit for most of the series, for most of the comic. But
It's also around that same scene, the boy, I would say, like, sexually assaults her, but enjoys it.
Yeah.
Which I, like, obviously, there's a lot of problems with that. But at the same time, part of me thinks, like, the boy in this comic, like, represents everything she wants to do. That she would never just do by herself.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So, I'm like, if you look at it from that perspective, I think it's at least interesting. I think it's like, it's obviously complicated either way, but...
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to put a content warning in the description of this episode.
Yeah, probably. I find their relationship very interesting because... The boy, because everyone in this world, like all the children, well, most of them at least, aside from like the boyfriend, speak about, wanting to rebel, as I guess teenagers do. But the boy seems to be the only one who actually does rebel. And the only person who really seems to idolize that is, main girl. And as a reader, at least me personally, I thought that he seemed to be just kind of like randomly committing crime, which I think it's difficult personally to argue like that as rebellion, because there's not something that he's specifically pushing against, if you know what I mean. He's just kind of like randomly trying to destroy things, which I think was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of the whole thing. It's like, it's like a point in your life where it's like you could become anything, but at the same time, your path feels very set. And it's like, it's kind of just teenage rebellion to its extreme.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. Okay, so should we start from the beginning?
Do we want to go through chronologically? Because I feel like it's I don't know, just the way the series, like
I think
comic dots around a bit.
I think it would be more fun to just like talk about whatever else comes to mind, like randomly.
Do you think Grant Morrison had been watching Family Guy just because of the incest joke and stuff? I don't know.
Is that a thing in Family Guy?
Yeah, just a bit of like a weird edge that kind of...
Maybe.
I don't know.
I think that kind of edge has been in Grant Morrison stuff.
Maybe.
Forever.
It's definitely Family Guy.
I don't think it's Family Guy, guys.
100% Family Guy. Comment down below if you think that Grant Morrison's main influence is Family Guy.
Who's your favourite Family Guy?
I actually haven't seen Family Guy, but I know about Brian. I know about
Brian.
I know Brian's the dog that dies, right? Spoilers for Family Guy. Brian dies, and then they replace him with a new Brian.
Kill your Brian.
Kill your Brian. Yeah. No, I think Kill Your Boyfriend's actually very fun. I remember when I was first reading it, I was like, this is very strange and kind of weird. Like, I wouldn't describe it as oppressive, because it's not like really sad, but like, especially with the colours, I was like, I could just go outside and experience this. You know what I mean?
I really like appreciate a comic that just captures like regular British life. Like, I think that's cool. Even on the cover, she looks like a lot of people I feel like we went to school with.
She's wearing Docky Martens. Which means
yeah.
But yeah, I really like that, and like I didn't personally like envisage killing my classroom or classmates or whatever, but sometimes when you're like sat in class, she has this like sort of daydream where she thinks about her like worst fantasies, and I was like, I get bored in class, so sometimes I'll be daydreaming, but I really like that contrast. I mean, you mentioned like the washed out colors, then contrasting with like the really bright dress and the blood and stuff. And I guess like, I don't know, that's quite a visual depiction of I don't know.
If I was bored in class, I used to imagine like a horse in the classroom and how everyone would react to a horse just being there and like, how did it get here?
That's actually quite an interesting question.
That's cool.
I think when I was younger, I'd probably be like quite indifferent. Now that I've gotten a bit older, more mature, I think I'd be quite impressed. I don't know, Leon. How would you react to a horse in the classroom?
Is everyone seeing the horse?
Yeah.
I think along with everyone else, I'd be pretty freaked out.
Freaked out?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Why is there a horse in this classroom?
Okay, how does the horse get in the classroom?
That's what I'm thinking. How did it get through the door?
Well, I would imagine like someone just like walking the horse into the classroom, and then people being like, why have you done that? Get the horse out of here.
Fair. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'd be a bit, but I imagine if they're able to walk a horse in the classroom with no repercussions, and the teacher's in on it as well. So it's more like a show and tell type situation.
Similarly, do you think the boy in this comic represents the horse in the classroom? Because
you're gonna have to elaborate.
He's so out of place and changes. Has a big impact on the people around him.
I have a question. Do you guys think the boyfriend deserved to die?
No, I think he kind of sucked though.
He sucked, but in the way like all teenage boys do. Like,
I think that if you kind of accept the logic of the comic book, then like he needs to die. He's like the worst guy in the whole.
You're the edgy guy with the
No,
jacket and the gun.
no, I'm not the edgy guy. No, but I think like he's very, because I think he's like quite condescending as well. I think something that's quite interesting is that like the I don't know, everyone in the comic is kind of condescending, especially towards main girl, but the main boy in his like depravity, in him being condescending, it's kind of more hypocritical. So it's not as, I guess, like rude, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. At the very end, we also see the girl, it's like her as an adult, and she's gonna like poison her husband with rat poison or something.
Yeah.
So she's gonna kill her boyfriend again.
Yeah, well that's actually quite interesting because the end, it just kind of, it's like her on her Blackpool Tower, she's in a shootout with the police, and then it just cuts to her being like her housewife. Yeah. So you're left to like question like how she got to that. Either this never happened, and she just imagined like going on a romp with her brother, or
I don't think that
she just gets away with it.
I think she does, because I think it's like she's a teenager and she did this teenage rebellion and then kind of assimilated into normal life.
Yeah.
But then she's still...
kills her husband.
She's still gonna kill her husband. So I don't really know, but I think it's like we see that in when like when her mother talks about giving away this baby, that also reflects like the mother is now a normal adult woman, but she had like a darker past as well. So
isn't it implied that her dad's a paedophile?
I don't think it actually...
Or it's implied that he's got some sort of like, I don't know, he's got some sort of strange like sexual secrets or whatever.
I think people say that, but the way I read it, maybe there's something I'm missing, but the way I read it was people keep saying that kind of... Well, in the context of this comic, and in Britain in general, people are kind of obsessed with the idea of a paedophile and like hyper aware of it. And I thought I think a lot of what he was saying was like, he was just like worried about his daughter or whatever, and people were like accusing him of that. And it's like, and it maybe wasn't true, but I don't know.
But yeah, basically everyone in this comic book is like really, really weird. Yeah. So I don't know. I think if you accept the logic of the comic book, which is that, you know, it's teen rebellion, do you think that she should have killed her boyfriend?
What do you mean, just for
that doesn't really make sense because she did, and that was the premise of the story.
But I mean, like, is it right that she did that, or would she be bettered if she just like continued to?
I mean, if she didn't do that, I guess.
I think there are other forms of rebellion.
That
she could have gotten.
Right, that's fair. No. I tend to agree. But yeah.
But if she didn't kill her boyfriend, then it wouldn't be called Kill Your Boyfriend.
It'd be called like, I don't know, like Steal a Car.
Yeah, but Kill Your Boyfriend's like the awesomest title ever.
Yeah.
I want to say the reason when me and Bertie like came up with this podcast, we were looking through, it was ages ago, but we were looking through Grant Morrison's bibliography just at like all the crazy things they've done. Because it's so many, and it's so many things you've never heard of, and so many famous things you definitely have heard of as well. But we just saw this one called Kill Your Boyfriend, and the title like immediately caught our eye. We were like, that sounds awesome. And then it was like a day later or something, and we were in a local charity shop, and they just had a copy of Kill Your Boyfriend like on display. It wasn't even like sandwiched in between books. It was like on top shelf on display. And it felt like a sign. This was going to be episode 1 for a long time. We were like, how funny would it be to start with Kill Your Boyfriend? So yeah, we were kind of fated to do this comic.
Yeah. Who do you think is the most drippy in Kill Your Boyfriend? Who has the best?
Well, it's a lot of the style terrorists. I feel like they have the most interesting outfits. I do really like in quite a normal way the way that the main girl layers is pretty nice.
It's a red dress. It's that denim jacket.
Yeah.
Boots.
But she's got the socks peeking out of her boots. I kind of like that.
Yeah, but what about boy though? Because boy, he has cuff jeans, and that's pretty awesome.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, he wears like a long coat. I think that's pretty cool. He reminded me a lot of JD from Heathers, which is one of my favorite movies. Which I guess is one of my ins for reading this. Like when he showed up, I was like, okay, this is interesting. This does differ quite a bit from Heathers, because in Heathers, like Veronica, the main girl, is a lot more. I guess like she pushes back on JD a lot more, while this girl, main girl here in Kill Your Boyfriend, she's a lot more willing to go along with kind of his crazy shenanigans. But yeah. No, I actually think that aside from, I think that there's kind of a contrast between the way that the kids dress and the way that the adults dress. All the adults have quite boring outfits, which I guess is meant to represent how, like, they've just kind of given in to, like, monotony, while the kids are trying to rebel and be different or whatever.
I think that's a good... I feel like there's a lot of interesting things to say about the style terrorists. I'd like to start talking about them. Yeah. I mean, obviously, they definitely have the most colourful outfits, but they all have interesting names and looks. Who's the first one we meet is like a monk, but he's not dressed like a monk. He just looks like a monk because he's got like the hair. Yeah. But they know he's a monk. Right. When they see him, they like acknowledge that. But then the reveal is that he's gay because he mentions a James Baldwin book, Giovanni's Room.
Right.
And I think he asks the boy about that. Oh, his name is Fudge.
Fudge, yeah. There's Drum as well.
There's Drum. Is Drum the one who he looks like Eazy-E.
Yeah. There's
one of them's called Sticks. I don't know if we get much of them, but that's like, well, essentially in Grant Morrison's Afterward and generally around this comic, they've said it's based on like the myth of Dionysus, who sort of lured women into like doing all sorts of crazy things, which is obviously the boy is Dionysus in that reading. But so it's interesting that in the Style Terrorists there's one called Styx, which is another like Greek mythology reference. There's one called Keats who's like dressed super old-timey. I don't know if he's meant to be like John Keats the poet.
Maybe.
But it's spelled differently.
I did consider that, which is very interesting. Because John Keats died quite young. Right. And I think that it's an interesting like comparison to make, because obviously John Keats, I don't know if you could say he rebelled, but he wrote very, you could say this very teen rebellion like poetry, right, which is pretty cool, because he wrote often about like forlorn love and whatnot, and that sort of, it's quite typical for a teen rebellion story. There is a guy in sort of like a lab coat. I don't know if we get his name, but he seems to be kind of like the leader, and he's telling everyone how they're going to blow up the Blackpool Tower, which is kind of like it's like the main MacGuffin of the story. Yeah. Which I thought was really weird, because Blackpool is like the least cool place. Yeah. And they're like, we need to go there. And I was just like, why?
Well, I guess it's the least cool. It's like the most disruptive to normality.
Yeah, I guess, but it's not metropolitan at all. It's just like, I don't know. Yeah. No shade to my Blackpool lovers out there.
BG Media.
Yeah. For the longest time, I thought they were from Bradford, but it's actually Blackpool Grime Media. Yeah.
Should we give our insider scoop?
Oh, yeah, we have an insider scoop.
Yeah. So, for the first time, can we just pause so I can put in an air horn?
Yeah, of course.
Insider scoop.
Insider scoop. So, I believe it was last year at Thought Bubble Comic Con, I met the inker Disraeli, and I got him to sign this comic. And he told me that towards the end of this comic, the last couple pages, Philip Bond was basically handing in the pencils later and later, and at the start of the comic, Philip Bond, I think, was inking everything, and towards the end, he was just doing the pencils, and towards the very end, he wasn't doing the backgrounds even, and it was Disraeli's job to like fill in the background. So there's a couple panels in the last couple pages, specifically, there's one, I believe, of like the girl's face that is fully just drawn by the inker, trying to emulate Philip Bond's style, and it fits in. Like I didn't notice it. I couldn't remember which one it was, to be honest. But yeah, that's an exclusive.
Yeah, this just in. But yeah, that's...
Are we just snitching on Philip Bond there? Or...
I think it's alright. He's, he did Vimanarama.
We're never getting Philip Bond on the show now.
We're big fans.
No, of course we're big fans, but
no one tell Philip Bond we just exposed him.
Yeah. And the art is great.
Yeah.
Good job.
Of course.
Good job.
Yeah.
But yeah. Any standout moments from you guys? Because I think I found the end really, really cool, because they have this kind of shootout with the police. Like it starts like what, in medias res. And it begins with her like on the top of the Blackpool Tower in a shootout of the police. Kind of Spider-Man-esque, like, I bet you're wondering how I got into this situation. And then it shows the whole story. It ends with her, and like, just after the boy, spoiler, he blows himself up. He like jumps into the police and blows himself up. And then
there was no time to escape that spoiler.
Yeah, spoiled the whole book.
Yeah, true. Well, to be fair, I don't like spoilers for everything. Assume if you're listening that we're going to spoil most of it. But yeah, and then I don't know. I think the set piece is really cool. I think Blackpool Tower's cool. I hope they went to the circus. Actually, do you guys think that the circus is like kind of boring, kind of part of the more boring aspects of British life, or do you think that the circus represents more like rebellion?
I don't remember the circus.
No, just in general.
Oh, in general.
because
it's not in this book.
Because the circus, like Blackpool has the circus, right?
Oh, I think the circus represents sort of the potential for fun.
Interesting.
In regular society.
I get that. What about you, Bertie?
And the circus sounds fun.
It's like a space where we get to escape from everything normal.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna watch a guy juggle and do a flip.
Yeah.
And
should we go to the circus after this?
100%. Do you think maybe the circus is a place where people can like learn incredible, like because like the circus is quite non-productive, if you know what I mean, in quite like a traditional industrial sense, but we're able to go there and appreciate, people doing something very, very impressive, though perhaps it's like, benign, probably the wrong word, but you know what I'm saying, like quite like antithetical to traditional productive like day-to-day life, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
I've got some other notes. There's a bit where she and the boy are looking at the stars, and that they also, like, all the names of the star constellations are, like, further references to Greek myth. I don't quite know what that signifies, because there are, like, obviously, apart from the Dionysus thing, there are just, like, these little references to Greek myth, but I can't tell, like, they don't seem to signify much. They're just kind of there. Yeah. But I feel like I need to point them out.
Yeah. Maybe the whole, like, Dionysus thing shows that maybe the story of Tita Rebellion will always repeat itself. That there will always be, people who are kind of down and out, bored with their everyday life, and there'll always be, crazy people who take them along to wacky adventures.
I kind of said, maybe it could be commentary on, like, how, like, the rigidity of society, especially British society, means that when you want to rebel, you get pushed into something extreme.
Yeah. Maybe. But yeah. Who, do you think their relationship is cute?
I don't find it that cute.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that, I much prefer them together than the girl and Paul. Because it seemed like girl wanted... Well, I think girl wanted to, like, have sex or whatever, and then she wanted to kind of, I don't know, do something a bit different, and Paul just wanted to, like, go to flipping Forbidden Planet or whatever.
Yeah.
and he just wanted to like grandstand about how much he knew about comics, while she wanted to, I don't know, do something a bit more like two-sided, I guess.
I would say we don't know anyone's age in this comic, but I think like if we did, like I feel like the girl's probably underage, but we don't know that. Yeah. Like I'm also like I don't know if it really matters because this comic, it's so like mythic. Like that wouldn't be the point of it, even if we knew. So it's like obviously like she is a high school girl, so that I mean that adds to the problematicness of certain things, but it's also the point of the thing. So
100%.
You know.
Yeah. I just think that she seems to have a lot more input into her relationship with Boy than with her relationship with Paul. Yeah. Well,
that's what I was saying. I don't know. Boy could just be a representation of like everything she wants. Like he's not that much of a character in certain ways.
100%. Yeah. He's always just, to be fair, right at the beginning, he's quite funny. He steals a guy's cigarettes and then is just like trolling him. I'll get this here. Like on the bus, he steals some old man's cigarettes and then just completely destroys him. What does he say? Yeah, he just gaslights him. He's like, "You stole my cigarettes." No, I didn't. Yeah, and then he just says that he bought them at the shop, and then he asks him if he's got a light, and I just think that that's quite funny.
Yeah. No, I did that. That was good.
Yeah.
I say he's an odd character, but he's definitely like charming and like
weirdly. What's it called? Like almost like a devil may care type thing. Yeah, but damn. Should we do a Morrison run trip to Blackpool Tower?
Yeah,
I think that'd be really cool
for research.
Of course, I think Blackpool has the cheapest hotel in all of the UK.
That's awesome.
I think it's £14 a night.
Nice.
Yeah, so maybe we'll stay there.
Could go on like bumper cars or something.
Yeah, 100%.
They have them there,
right? That sounds fun.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I'm banned from a Blackpool's arcade. One of them. But that's fine. It doesn't matter.
What? How?
When was this? Because you might look a lot different now.
Yeah, true. Okay, because I remember when I was younger, I got really. So for some reason I got really into like a 2p machine. Like I kept putting 2p's in there, and then I started getting a bit annoyed, so I started kicking it, and then a lady had to like cast me out. Okay. And I guess I'm not allowed to go back, but I'm sure she's over it now. But yeah, Blackpool is, I think, like British seasides in general are quite an interesting setting, because a seaside is meant to be like really fun, but it tends to rain a lot at British seasides, so they tend to kind of be like the idea of fun, but kind of wet and drab, if you know what I mean. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. So I think it's an interesting place, like an interesting place for them to want to go to, if you know what I mean. But yeah. But what are your thoughts on how British Kill Your Boyfriend is?
How British?
Yeah.
I think it's very British. It's like the look of the just environment they're in is quite familiar, I think.
Yeah. There's even a bit when they're on like the side of a motorway, and I'm like, oh, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, it makes sense, Liam, that you thought it was in Bradford, because it looks very, very northern, the whole place. But
I think that was mostly. Well, yeah. It feels more. Even if they say London, it feels more boring than London.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were times when I was thinking of like Louth. I used to spend a lot of time there, and I think just like when they're in that square or something at the start, I just was thinking of that. But it might just be one of those like a load of places merged into one, kind of vaguely British.
It reminds me of the whole aesthetic of this comic. I just realized it reminds me of the album Time and Place by Caro Caro Bonito. They were like aestheticizing British suburbia that was like super boring, but then also it had a lot of these colourful elements as well, and I feel like I would pair that album with this comic. You know.
What do you think the most British thing is?
Britain.
Because I'm trying to think. Cause people say fish and chips, but I don't know. I don't really because fish and chips comes from the idea that we're like a coastal. I don't know. We're an island or whatever, right? Yeah. But like, you know, not everywhere in the UK has access to the sea. Like, I don't think I've ever lived in a place that's like seaside. So I don't know if I could really say fish and chips.
I think baked beans is the most British
I do think baked beans. You know what's actually really, really cool? I don't know if this is still the case. You know Heinz beans?
Yeah.
Yes.
Heinz beans has what's called, I think, a royal warrant, which means that Heinz beans is the beans that the royal family eats. Which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
Like Heinz beans supplies the king with his beans. So yeah, if you're ever in your local Sainsbury's, know that you're eating royal beans.
That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no mention to the monarchy in the whole story, which is interesting. That's true. Because I think that's quite. I mean, it is and it's not British in the sense that like in like a modern British setting, most people don't think about the monarchy that often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think especially. I think recently we've been thinking about the monarchy more because the Queen died, and then now we've got the King. This is like in the 90s. Well, I guess the Princess Diana was a big deal in the 90s.
True.
But the Queen had like been around for ages, and she wasn't going to die soon.
Yeah.
So it was just like.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like not even something. It's just like such a constant that you're not even going to acknowledge.
That's right.
It's not a story that's trying to be overly British to make other people laugh and stuff. Because I know like there's a lot of Australian stuff in the UK that's just like supposed to be very Australian because it's funny and you know, like Crocodile Dundee being the most popular film over here by them. But like, you know, Central C is doing that. Like he's being
overly British for an American audience.
So this isn't that, and I think
it's not. I believe
if it was, they would be mentioning the monarchy.
Yeah.
I believe Grant Morrison said they wrote this when they were in New Zealand.
Right,
that's cool.
And it was like a little bit of like a return home type thing, maybe. Yeah.
If you could kill one character and kill your boyfriend, who would it be? I'd probably. I think there's there's one police guy at the end who's kind of annoying. No, like the police in this whole thing, like because I think the idea is that the boy is depicted as a bit of a delinquent, but because the world is so strict, the fact that he deviates in a little bit means that he's kind of like a national criminal that needs to be like put down. And it depicts like the law is very, very strict and like any deviations from it being like an insane crime, which I think is interesting because like obviously like we have the law, but I think what it's more meant to represent is like social law in the sense that like if you don't conform totally and wholly, then like the repercussions socially are quite great.
Yeah. I've got a couple other notes specifically about like the style terrorists. There's like one person who talks about being gender fluid, I believe, which is, I think that's something we see in some version of that in a lot of Grant Morrison comics. Doom Patrol kind of has a like non-binary character. That I just have this note. I don't know where exactly it's from. A quote, floating identities, which I think is, and then there's like that speech that she says a couple times of like, I can be a riot girl, I can be a housewife with rat poison, blah, blah, blah. So it's like kind of this idea, I could be anything, but maybe society wants me to be one thing.
Interesting. Yeah. Have you guys seen Trainspotting? The movie Trainspotting?
I haven't.
I think Trainspotting, for some reason this reminded me of Trainspotting a lot because in that, it's also about trying to break away from the monotony, but ultimately what they turn to instead of like rebellion is like heroin specifically. Which I guess is like, it meant to represent like the ultimate hedonic good, right? But I think there's a whole speech in that as well, which is kind of about like, how you should conform and how like that's almost like it's gonna happen, almost inevitable in a way. And yeah, I think it's quite cool. I do think it's quite interesting like how many like very iconic stories like the UK has about like rebellion, because maybe it's as a result of how uniform and structured UK society is and because especially because like I don't know. the UK as kind of an entity has been around for like a very, very, very long time. So we have a very long time to kind of like build traditions and stuff. And I guess, I don't know, as a modern person, maybe you want to always break away from that. But yeah, it's just my thought.
I think there'll be more of that theme in Invisibles as well, and I'm sure other work by Grant Morrison.
Yeah. Now, I mean, if you guys want to wrap up,
I was about to say,
I highly recommend Kill Your Boyfriend. Yeah. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it at all, and then I came out and I was like, this is actually really, really interesting. So,
right.
Yeah.
There was a lot to talk about. Like, it's
very dense,
packed with a lot of interesting ideas in such a short. It's only 80 pages, and I think it's less. I think it's 60 pages.
Yeah.
So I would recommend it as like. Last week we talked about All-Star Superman, which is very accessible in one way because it's bright and it's about a popular superhero, and it's just a 12-issue story arc. This is accessible because it's so short and doesn't have anything to do with anything else. But it's also really weird. It's like it's not going to be for everyone.
Yeah.
But I think if you're interested, I'd definitely give it a read. There's a lot.
I think you might even be able to get it as like a floppy single issue format. So it's probably quite cheap.
Yeah.
A good one. Should we rate it? How many boyfriends do you give it out of 5? Leon, how many boyfriends?
How many boyfriends out of 5?
Oh, Kiss, Marry, Kill Your Boyfriend.
I don't know how to tackle that one.
Yeah.
So
we could. Wait, I'll think about it. Give me a sec. No, how many boyfriends?
How many boyfriends out of 5? That's pretty difficult because I have complicated feelings on this one. I'm gonna give it 3.5 boyfriends out of 5.
Cool.
Because it's really like it's on the positive side because it's really interesting. There's a lot to talk about, and there was a lot of parts of it I did really enjoy. The art's really good. But there's parts I have hesitations on and I don't really understand, so it minuses a boyfriend and a half.
Makes sense. What about you, Bertie?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go 3 because I'm not like quite sure like about certain things, but I do definitely find it interesting. I like the art. I think maybe the incest made it lose a star. I don't know. But, yeah, I think, interesting, worth a read. Did confuse me the first time, but, I think I'm going to go 3.
Yeah, I think it's
what about you?
I'd say probably 3 as well, because, like, I'm very glad that I have read it, but I don't feel an insane motivation to, like, go back to it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, I definitely think that it's worth a read, but, I don't know if this is going to be one that you're going to keep coming to.
It's not one that I don't hear loads of discussion about this online or anything. True. So I'd love if more people did read it and talked about it, because I think there's a lot to talk about.
And emailed us at morrisonrun@gmail.com.
Please do.
Please. Next week on the Morrison Run,
we're reading 2 stories from 2000 AD. Both of them are just 5 pages, so, go read them. One of them is from 2000 AD 491. It's called Candy and the Catchman. And one of them is from 2000 AD 479, and it's called
Genius Danger at Work, I think.
Genius at Work.
Danger Genius.
But like I said, both of those together, both of those are 10 pages. So definitely give them a read before next episode.
Yeah. And we'll see you then.
Peace out.
I could put another air horn in.
Yeah, please do. Please
nice.
do.